Later in business, Cuts International demands that government urgently addresses ECG's inefficiencies as President John Mahama signs the energy sector levy bill into law.
And in news from elsewhere, Chad says it is suspending the issuance of visas to U.S. citizens in revenge against Trump's travel ban.
We're live around the world on 3news.com. That's our website. We're also streaming on Facebook, and the best part is that you can be part of the show. Let's hear what you make of the stories we have for you tonight.
Quote, strike is not what will resolve this issue, unquote. Those were the words of Health Minister Kwabena Mintah Akwando as he taught 3 major health facilities in the Greater Accra region, assessing the impact of the ongoing strike by the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. Overwhelmed by the scale of disruption, the minister is pleading with the striking nurses and midwives to put patients first and return to work as efforts are made to find an amicable solution.
The minister's first stop was the emergency unit of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, where he interacted with the unit's head. Only a handful of staff was seen attending to its patients, a sharp contrast to usual operations. He then proceeded to the pediatric unit to evaluate the effect of the strike on care delivery to children. At each stop, the minister appealed directly to nurses and midwives to return to post, reiterating that industrial action would not offer a substantial solution.
Our doors are open and to continue to be opened. And in fact, to tell you, since I came to the office, they themselves, they know the effort I have put in place to resolve other complicated issues with them. This is not the first since I came to the office. So I am committed and ever ready to think through that, even if it has to be unofficial, and I go beyond even my official duties to assist the leadership to maintain and to make sure that there's no tension at their front. This is what I'm committed in doing.
A tour continued at the Lekma Hospital, where the minister witnessed similar scenes of limited staffing and disrupted services. His final stop was at the Greater Accra Regional Hospital, where he urged in-ward staff to remain calm and continue prioritizing patient care amid challenges.
The nurses should listen to the plea of the ordinary Ghanaians and listen to the plea of all of us to come back to work to save lives. Whatever it is, we can assure them that when we sit around the table, we'll find solutions to those challenges.
In wrapping up with the tour, the minister refuted claims that the ministry is attempting to intimidate striking nurses through the National Labour Commission, insisting that ongoing engagements aim at resolving the matter in good faith. Godwin Asideba, TV3.
Let's connect with General Secretary of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, Dr. David Tinkran Chum. Doc, good evening to you and thank you for joining us on News 360. You heard what the minister said. He said you should consider the plight of the patients and return to work. How do you respond to that?
Good evening and good evening to your viewers. It's a good call. It makes sense. But to what extent does it resolve the impasse? I must say that we feel very disrespected, okay? And all the time, when an issue comes up, look at the patients. We've been looking at patients since 1960. And nurses and midwives go home as paupers. We will not fail this generation and the next generation of nurses and midwives. We are asking for something simple. We have negotiated for a condition of service. It is a collective agreement, and by the labor law, it's very clear. It's binding on the employer. All what the employer needs to do is to implement it. So there is nothing like come to the table and say, there is nothing like renegotiations. And we have said it copiously that our collective agreement is not subject to renegotiations. That said, the condition of service is a living document. It has an expiry date of 2 years. We have already done 1 year out of it. Not a penny, a dime had been paid out of it. Of course, we were also complicit up to some point. I don't fault the employer entirely. But I think that 5 months is good time enough for the finance minister to approve that binding document that I'm referring to, known as collective agreement. If you are negotiating, it's a different thing altogether. We have finished with the negotiations. It's been signed, sealed, and delivered. What is left is implementation. So all what we are asking, I'm saying that our request is a very simple ask. It's not too difficult. What I want Ghanaians to know is that this is very unfortunate. This is very painful. My heart aches. We shouldn't have gotten to this far. But because of the intransigent posturing of the employer and the tactics, I don't want to use certain words, those old-fashioned tactics, let's try and confuse, sow a seed of discord amongst their leaders and see if we can play them against each other. They succeeded in getting some few breakaway groups, and they thought that the members of those groups are not okay. They are very much alive and well. And they know that when they go on retirement, they will go home as individuals. So they are fighting for their rights. And for that matter, they have defiled the orders of their leaders. I thank all those nurses and midwives who have placed their future ahead of any inclination of any sort. And what we are asking is that they should approve the condition of service for us, and we will come. Look, successive administrations, when nurses speak up, they will not look at the content. They will not avert their minds to what we're talking about. They will quickly rush the Labour Commission, seek an injunction. And it's been the tactic. We are ever ready to go to the longest haul.
Doc, I can feel your level of frustration, but could you at least consider meeting with government to at least look at the implementation of the final agreement, the roadmap at least, not just to negotiate?
If the document has not been approved for implementation, what is the point in meeting anybody? You can't put the cart before the horse. Let me walk you through how these are done. This is not the first time we have negotiated a condition of service. And to other unions, they will tell you, after the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission that leads government team to negotiate with the unions, have completed their job, more often than not, the government team consists of the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission as the lead, Ministry of Finance, the sector ministry, so dependent. In our case, the health ministry, and sometimes the employment ministry. After that is done, it is signed by all the parties involved in the negotiations. And then it is forwarded to the Ministry of Finance by the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. Before the condition of service will be signed, it will be costed. So it is known the financial implications thereof. And then the Ministry of Finance will just give an approval to Controller Accountant General for those monetary aspects to be worked on and paid. And for instance, if there are other non-monetary, it goes to the sector ministry and its agencies for implementation. We've gone through this route several times. I don't see why somebody should tell me that after a condition of service has been approved and it has become a binding document known as collective agreement, people must come and sit down again and do what with it? We are asking for something simple. We are appealing to the employer. As I said, we don't deal with government. And that's why we are still relevant since 1960. We are a political organization. We know that government will come and go, so we deal with the employer. The employer does not change. If you go to the Ministry of Health today, apart from my good friend, Honorable Mita Akando, who is a political head, the system is there. All the people that we negotiated with are there. Go to Ministry of Finance, apart from the sector minister. All the technocrats, the key technocrats that we went through this process with are there. So what is new?
Right.
If they need any briefing, they should get it from their people. It's not a meeting with David Tinkrai or Perpetual Forampo or any other person that will bring their minds to whatever was discussed.
Right. Doctor, we hope that you are able to find a resolution soon because the patients are the one bearing the brunt. Thank you so much for joining us on News 360. Dr. David Tinkran is the General Secretary of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association.
In a related development, the National Labour Commission has taken legal action to halt the ongoing strike by nurses and midwives across the country. A court has granted an interlocutory injunction ordering the leadership of the Nurses and Midwives Association to immediately suspend their strike. The union had planned a full withdrawal of service starting Monday, June 9, which would have affected all emergency care and treatment services nationwide. They are therefore demanding the immediate implementation of their conditions of service. And like you heard the General Secretary indicate, nothing is going to bar them from continuing with their strike unless the full implementation of the conditions of service which they have agreed upon with the employer.
Away from that, the administrator of the Mineral Development Fund.
Part of what you are doing, we do not expect the foreigners to benefit from this. So we